Shares of long-haul low-cost carrier AirAsia X soared by over 12% to a peak of 42.5 cents earlier today. The stock caught investor interest after the group's CEO Tony Fernandes said via Twitter today that 2018 will be a huge year for AAX. Fernandes described AAX as the most undervalued airline stock in the world, just like AirAsia was. He said investors are starting to see value, although there is a long way to go. He adds that he sees AAX as a growth stock with annual and special dividends. The AirAsia chief cited cost reduction, increased utilization, increased country focus, growth in ancillary income, and the cull of loss-making routes as amongst measures to be taken. For that, AAX will leverage on its strength in Asia with 3 great airlines, Kuala Lumpur, Bangkok, and Bali. AAX ended today 10.8% higher at 41 cents. FGV's new chairman, Azhar Abdul Hamid, has only one thing on his mind: to ensure that the plantation conglomerate gets back on track. On his first day at work today, Azhar held a 3-hour meeting with FGV's senior management to discuss plans and efforts to improve the company's performance. He says what's important is that operations go on despite the current crisis to ensure that FGV's performance is back on the right platform. This would restore confidence and safeguard all the stakeholders, including the shareholders. Meanwhile, suspended FGV Group President and CEO Zakaria Arshad says Azhar's appointment will bring in a fresh and positive perspective to FGV's board and management, which is currently facing a perception crisis. Zakaria, whose fate is widely expected to be known today, says he is convinced that the recent positive momentum seen in FGV's share price late last week will continue. This is because the market is confident that Azhar and the FGV management have the ability to steer the company back on the right track. FGV's share closed 4.3% higher today at RM1.71. Major shipping firms are shifting their operations from Port Klang to Singapore under new alliance agreements. That is said to be hitting the country's main shipping hub hard. The Straits Times reports this has raised questions over Putrajaya's aggressive plans to build new harbours and rail links along the Malacca Straits. It notes that many of Malaysia's investments are partnerships with China. Yet the Ocean Alliance, which includes state-owned China COSCO Shipping, the world's 4th largest player, made a huge shift from Port Klang to PSA Singapore's terminal in April. The paper says this has added to concerns over China's commitment to supporting Malaysia's logistics industry. Former Port Klang Authority Chairman Lee Hua Beng told the Straits Times only Kuantan Port has Chinese equity so far because it also aids Beijing's South China Sea claims. Other infrastructure plans have either not taken off or are only loans, or worse, just Chinese companies winning construction deals. Citing data compiled from Northport and Westports, the report goes on to say that cargo throughput was down a sharp 8.4% in the second quarter of this year. And among the world's top 20 ports, Port Klang was one of only 2, the other being Tanjung Pelepas, to see a drop in volume in the first half of this year. The deadline to complete Selangor's water restructuring exercise is looming, but the state government apparently still has yet to make an offer to Splash. Minister of Energy, Green Technology and Water, Maximus Ongkili, says Putrajaya is still waiting for the Selangor administration to name the price so that they can discuss how much the federal government can give to fund the acquisition. Selangor needs to make its offer soon as the deadline falls on October 5th. Asked about the possibility of the deadline being further extended, Ongkili simply said, "We will have to discuss this with them." The initial cutoff date was April 6 before it was moved to October. Selangor Menteri Besar Azmin Ali had said that this was because the federal government was waiting on its own independent valuer to finalize the valuation of Splash's assets. Sime Darby has submitted the relevant applications to the Securities Commission in order to list its plantation and property arms. The conglomerate, which is planning to demerge both units, also announced the new board members and senior leadership for Sime Darby Plantation and Sime Darby Property. Chairman Abdul Ghani Othman says the new members have the experience and expertise to spearhead the businesses in these challenging times. He adds that the group is confident that they'll grow the business into stronger entities to generate sustainable returns for all stakeholders. The announcement of an additional board member for both companies would be made soon. Earlier this year, Sime Darby unveiled plans to create 3 standalone businesses to unlock shareholder value. It plans to list the plantation and property units at the end of November.